Hey guys, welcome back to Herding Instincts Chapter 11 this time around. I don't remember what really happened last time around because I got too much going on, even though I'm just uploading to different channels basically. But anyways, let's see what's going on now, because the only thing I remember is like just North Point being new and, Tim and her talking about her cutie mark. That's the only thing I remember. Anyways, oh yeah, and then Tim getting a job, and the kitchen manager was like, if he goes, I go. And she was like so shocked. And I'm just like, dope. That's just dope. Also, Cayanne needs to realize, like, he's not, down to just be a house stallion or house husband slash. Is it husband now? I don't even think they're married, even though I'm pretty sure they are, because Celestial's like, boom, just gave them their rights right there and then, and I'm pretty sure they're somewhat married. So, he's not gonna be a housemate, I guess. Anyways, let's hop right into it. Chapter 11. Citrus, Blush, and North Point snuggle together in their booth at the Spitfire Grill. Tim sits across from them, watching North Point horn glow softly as she stares at the blank sheet of paper. The divider compass is sitting next to the sheet of paper on the table. Tim takes a sip of his tea. It didn't take much coaxing to get Cayanne to add an American Southern style sweet tea to the drink menu. One taste had hooked the mare, though. Tim is still trying to figure out how to create a Long Island iced tea with the liquors available in the bar. Even familiar styles of alcohol are still different enough. The flavor never comes out just right. He sets the glass down on the table and takes a bite of the fettuccine Alfredo on his plate, relishing as the heat and flavor spread across his tongue. Finally, he swallows. Nothing? North shakes her head. I'm just so used to working on buildings. This feels... She runs a hoof along the paper. It's hard to explain. I just don't know how to start, she sighs. I guess I don't have inspiration. Tim smiles. Perhaps this will help. He pulls out what he had purchased on his way to the restaurant before work. He takes a moment to unfold the paper. I find a pretty detailed map of Canterlot. What Tim doesn't mention is this snort of surprise from the stallion selling the map. Though he did take... Wait, what? He pulls out what he had purchased on his way to the restaurant before work. He takes a moment to unfold the paper. I found a pretty detailed map of Canterlot. What Tim doesn't mention is the snort of surprise from the stallion selling the map. That he take Tim's bits without qualms. North Point brightens on seeing this map. It's beautiful. She touches the thick paper gingerly. This has to be expensive. Tim shrugs. It's worth to see the look on your face. He glances at Citrus, whose beaming smile that warms his heart. And I've got a job, earning my own bits. I'm happy to use it for something nice, for somebody nice. North glances at Citrus and at Tim. Are you inviting me to join your herd? Well, you guys did fuck, so, like, why not? Tim thinks for a moment, and the look on Citrus' face tells him all he needs to know. If you want to join, we will be happy to have you. North blushes deeply and nestles Citrus. Thank you, Tim. She looks down. I've tried to join another herd a while back. Here's back for a moment, but their stallion said I wasn't good enough in bed. She shuffles a bit. That's the worst. That's the worst requirement for a herd. Like, what? That's not the only thing you need a mare for, you idiot. I'm annoyed. Citrus also North Point. You just hadn't found the right stallion then. Tim smiles at the two mares. He says, you don't have to decide right now, but dinner service is starting soon, so I've got to get busy. He stands up and glances around. The restaurant is pretty quiet at the moment, though that will be changing before too long. Tim collects a kiss from each mare and whistles a happy tune as he makes his way into the kitchen. It may be the height of summer, but he's got a fun job, and mares who love him fiercely. He has no worries. He starts on the dishes, listening to the general din of the kitchen. As he can tell, more and more patrons are making their way into the restaurant. He smiles at a Pegasus stallion that drops off a load of pots and pans for him to work on. He grabs a big pot and gets to work, taking the stiffly bristled brush to the encrusted quilt on the sides. Hiya, comes a voice. Tim looks around puzzled. Up here, silly, comes the voice again, and he follows the direction to see a white griffin with gray wings and tail sitting on top of the dishwasher. Tim looks at her for a long moment, and then he smells. Galilea! She grins. You remembered my name. I don't need to charge you a mind-it fee. But she says with a wiggle. He sputters for a moment as she hops down and walks around him. So you got a job now. You like it? He nods. How did you? She shrugs her wings, replying, Daddy was hosting some ponies for some business deal back home. I really don't care about that. I was just about to tell him I was going to bail when I watched a pony go through the kitchen door, and I saw you. So you just got... How did you get back here? His eyebrows rise as he glances back at the door quickly. Then he focuses back on the griffin. So why are you coming back here? I think Applestars will be upset if she finds you. Tim lets a bit of a warning hit into his voice, hoping the little lady gets it before they both do. The griffin sticks out her tongue and raises her wings for a moment. Oh, what will she do? Fire me? I don't work here. If you can't visit me here, I have Daddy pull some strings and have Princess Lestia send you to our embassy. Tim shakes his head, but he searches for a long time for the word, and finally, why me? I don't know, she shrugs. Primarily because you're not a pony, I guess. I don't have to worry about you breaking out into a song and dance number on me. She rolls her eyes, especially since I don't have any songbird in me. She stops and looks intently at him. The truth is, there aren't a lot of griffins to hang around with here in the Canterlot. Basically just NBC staff, and they are boring. She clicks her beak a couple of times. The yaks just want to break things. The minotaurs are just too aloof and showy for my taste. She looks down and grumbles. Some of the ponies seem to like them a lot. She looks up at him. But words seem to fail her for a moment. She opens her beak a couple of times, and her cheeks blossom with a blush. Well, she draws on the tile of the floor with a foreclaw. You're different. She looks up at him. Strange, new. So when do you get out of work? She finishes with a hesitant smile. Tim stammers in a few times. I'm closing tonight, so around 3 a.m. She shakes her head. Oh, that's far too late. She glances at Apple Stars, who is working with some of the sous chefs at the moment. I could get you fired, make you spend time with me right now, she muses, tipping her beak with a talon, and she shrugs. But you like the job, so I can wait. She jumps in the air. I'll see you around, okay? She tosses off a salute to Tim before she streaks off. She definitely flies through air. She definitely flies through air above the ponies working in the kitchen. She even stops and clings to the ceiling for a moment as Apple Stars trots from one station to another. Then she flings through the door out of the kitchen. Tim sighs and shakes his head. What was that all about? She likes you dum-dum. She likes you. The reason why there was a big goofy blush on her. Excuse me, is that so hard? I know you got like possibly a third mate coming in. I'm assuming he's gonna be oblivious to most mayors until Cayanne or Citrus sign off on it. Anyways, back to the story. We skip a couple times. Skip ahead. Excuse me. Sunday, a nice quiet day to lay around together. Cayanne typically takes Sundays off to spend more time with the herd. Citrus takes a day off from her shop and the hospital for the same reason. Normally the mares are so busy during the week without a day set aside for a quiet time in bed, they wouldn't really be spending all that much time together. It's one thing to climb into bed with the other 2 mares already sleeping, or having one of them join him in the middle of the day, but it's so much better to lie in bed and enjoy the time together. Over a month of working at the restaurant has been wonderful for Tim. In fact, both the mares have mentioned that he's been happier than they've ever seen him. Well, yeah, man's got the job. I also need to look for a job, to be honest. I'm running out of funds to keep me going. So she just flew off like that, Cayanne says with a growl. And she was in the kitchen of my restaurant, and none of the ponies noticed her. Tim nods, and the craziest thing about that, I think she's interested in me. She asked me when I would get off work, and when I told her that I was going to be in the middle of the night, she said she should get me fired, so I have to spend time with her. You can feel Citrus and Cayanne both tense in response. He squeezes them closer. It's right, she decided that I should keep my job, he frowns, though I wouldn't put it past her to show up randomly. Citrus nuzzles his cheek. Well, Tim, if she wants to join the herd, and you like her... Well, hold on a moment. I wasn't trying to bring her into the herd. I barely know her. No point did say yes to joining us. She's got her lease at her place to deal with, but she'll be moving in before too long. I'm not looking to expand our herd already. 3 mares with just me is kind of intense already, and the prospect of another added. I don't know if I can handle all of you. That gets twin giggles as okay and stops for a moment. A sour look on her face. You do know that griffins tend to be more monogamous than ponies, right? Citrus giggles. I would like to meet her sometime. Perhaps one of those times she shows up, you can bring her here. Let her meet us. 2 months. At least girls can get to know her. He glances around at the sound of a knock on the entry door. He extracts himself from the mare's. I'll get it, he says as he pulls on pajama pants. He pads down the stairs and through the entryway. Coming, he calls. As the knock is repeated yet again, finally he opens the door. Oh, good morning, princess. Toya's ears are down and her tail is tucked under her rear. Good morning, Tim. He gestures for the young alicorn to enter and closes the door behind you. I didn't know when you would show up again, but it's good to see you. She nods as she hops on the couch. I had to deal with some, she blushes a bit, personal issues. She signs for a moment, her tail twitching beneath her. I'm sorry for missing so many appointments with you. And then the deer, she looks up at him, her eyes bright with tears. I'm sorry, I'm a horrible teacher. Tim moves over and gives Twilight a hug. She tenses for a long moment, and finally her wings fold around him, hugging him back. After a long moment, he pulls away. She tilts her head to the side, one ear up, one ear down. What was that for? Tim shrugs. You look down, so I'm trying to cheer you up. That gets a wan smile from Twilight. Thank you, Tim. Though I think there's been a breakthrough on how you got here. A breakthrough? She nods. Princess Esther got enough from the deer of the Everfree Forest. They were complaining about the ponies leaving trash in the forest. Princess Esther assured them in her note back that ponies don't send our trash to Everfree. Around here, most trash is treated magically. She shakes her head. Well, long story short, she sent some guards to where the deer had indicated, and they did find something. She flicks her ears for a long moment as she feels silent. Tim shrugs. What did they find? Well, I think I should show you. Could you please let your herd know that you'll be gone for a day or so? Tim blanches. Well, I have work tomorrow. Apple stars. She looks up at him sharply. You have a job now? She looks down. Geez, I have to deal with things for a couple of weeks and everything changes. She grumbles quietly. Then apparently she realizes that she spoke aloud. She flinches and looks up at him and her face turning red. I'm sure I'll have you back by tomorrow afternoon. Is that okay? Tim nods. I'll tell the girls. I'll let them know about that. I don't have to go until late afternoon anyway. He says. He heads upstairs, and in a matter of minutes, the two of them are in the elevator. He listens to the hum of the elevator as it swiftly descends. So what did they find? She shakes her head. We had to estimate some of it, but we weren't exactly certain what it was. Though we do know it's metal, and I think it's from your world. Tim's eyebrows rise as the door opens. He follows her through the lobby, and when they get outside, Tim stops and stares. A chariot? Tim asks, looking at the golden pony drawn vehicle sitting on the street. Two large Pegasus stallions in royal regalia harnessed to the large chariot. Twilight giggles as she chambers aboard. Since my last attempt to teleport you was such a failure, I simply had a chariot brought so we can go there. Right now, she nods. Right now, she watches him climb aboard and calls out, ready. The two stallions unfurl their wings and start to pull the chariot. Quickly, they are in the air. Tim looks over the side as they continue to gain altitude, and the city of Canterlot expands before his eyes. He glances at the royal palace and looks down at the streets, teeming with multicolored ponies going about their lives. Pegasi wing their way above the cityscape as unicorns and earth ponies walk the streets. Beautiful, Tim breathes as he picks out other landmarks of Canterlot. Restaurant Row, the mercantile district where Applestars has gone with him on purchasing expeditions, fresh fish and other protein sources, along with the best Canterlot has to offer, fruits and vegetables, line several street vendors. A shift as it says shows him the airship docks. After a moment, a lavender wing folds over his shoulders. Yes, the capital city has its own beauty, Twilight says softly. Tim looks at her. She's standing with her forehooves on the railing on the chariot. Her tail swishing slowly as they fly. She leans back towards him. You would be surprised at how much of Equestria is that beautiful. Well, it's beautiful. It's landscape. Landscape is just in general beautiful. What do you mean? Tim nods as the Pegasi pulling the cart bring it over the edge of the city walls and start to descend. At first, he thinks their destination is Ponyville, but they actually continue over a large section of forest before too long. The city on the mountain is barely visible, and the town of Ponyville is completely hidden from you. Twilight looks down. This is the Everfree Forest. This is a dangerous area, and with you not having magic, it could be likely very fatal. If you have to go, make sure I'm with you, understood? Tim gulps and nods as the Pegasi head towards the ground. The large cleared area has been cordoned off. Ponies are working all over the place, along with quite a few royal guards when they land. Twilight leads him off the chariot. Tim is quite content to simply follow the alicorn as she makes her way towards the destination. Before long, she stops and gestures for him to come up beside her. Tim's jaws drop. Half buried in the ground is an enormous metal cylinder. It had impacted at an angle, sucking debris into it as it hit the ground, digging a partial trench. Even in this condition, it's easily recognizable. It's a jet engine. He was softly stepping forward, putting his hand gently against the cowling. It's heavily damaged. Apparently, it had been traveling at a high speed when it hit. The front end is crumpled, but it's still attached to its pylon with parts of the wing that's still affixed. Though torn as if hit by some great force, Tim looks back at Twilight. Well, this suddenly looks like it's from my world. How did you figure that out? Twilight unfolds her wings and takes it to the air. She flies around to the side of the engine. Tim follows and looks at where she's pointing. The blue color of the engine cowling was enough, but emblazoned on the side of the engine is the website for them, jetblue.com. He glances up. A good portion of the wing is still connected. And that could be from the plane I was on, but how did it get here? Then he gasps. He looks at Twilight, whose ears are down. She nods. You've described how your airplanes fly, she points up. The metal was sliced, I'm guessing by some sort of portal or dimensional rift, she says softly. The edges of it would likely make a razor seem dull, and it sliced off the wing with this engine, along with a bit of the body of the plane. He looks down. The part with me in it. He stops, looking at the other debris around. No way you are saying this was my plane. She nods. You must have slipped out of your seat as you fell, she points. You were found by a rainbow dash in Ghastly Gorge. That's about 5 miles that way. She looks up at him. Could the plane have survived that kind of damage? Tim looks up at the wing. He's already certain of the answer, but for a moment he wants to believe it's possible. After a long time he sighs and shakes his head. She nods. That's what I thought, she says softly. A few tears escape, and she looks up at him. How many were aboard? Tim says it was an early morning flight. I guess it was about half full? So over 100 humans, he nods. He would like to confirm closer to 200, but the number is high enough already. She looks down. Do you know what was happening that day? Tim shakes his head. Twilight emits a heavy sigh. Rainbow Dash was practicing for a special performance. She had done 3 or 4 sonic rainbooms that day. Her ears flat back. I think she may have inadvertently created a rift with the magical explosion. He had seen the sonic rainbow before, some celebration a few months ago after he had arrived in Equestria. It was truly a sight to behold. She turns away, her wings, ears, and tails all signaling exactly how defeated she looks. Tim moves up next to her. There's no way you could have known, Twilight. She stops and looks at him, her eyes bright with even more tears. Tim, I had persuaded Rainbow to practice that day. She had been procrastinating. She needed to be in the tip-top shape for the Summer Sun celebration. She was doing it that day at my behest, she sobbed softly. I'm not only the only reason over 100 humans are dead, but I'm also the reason you are here. Well, that's just don't think about it. Just don't think about it. It's an accident. I wouldn't think Rainbow would be lazy. I think Rainbow just, she's done. She probably just does like 1 or 2 a day, and that's it. Tim sits down heavily. Everyone on that plane was probably dead. He shakes his head. If that's not plausible, he looks back at the ruined engine and back at Twilight. Alicorn is hugging herself with her wings, trying to suppress her sobs. The other Pokemon working the site seem to be keeping their distance. Finally, Tim moves over and gives her a hug. That opens the floodgates as Twilight latches onto him as she cries. Great sobs rack her body as he holds her tightly. His shoulder is soaked as she mourns, and all he can do is hold her tightly and let her cry. Finally, she sniffles and pulls away. You should hate me. Poor little Twilight, man. She always like this. She always like any story I read. She always says like, "You should," and I'm like, "No, that's not gonna happen." Tim shakes his head. Why? There's no way you could ever have known this would happen. He looks back at the engine. The chances of this happening to be like so tiny that there would be absolutely no way to predict that her doing a sonic rainbow could ever cause this. He shrugs. This isn't your fault, Twilight. This is a freak accident. He found himself holding back tears. Yes, humans died in the accident, but how did you foresee a rift like this? I know that sonic rainbow is more than just a colorful display. It has some really powerful and ancient magic behind it. It's very weird that a Pegasus has the ability to create one. The Pegasus can't just be fast, but also have a strong magical component to their flight. Rainbow Dash is the first in decades to have that ability. I know of only 2 Pegasi who have the necessary magic components in the world right now. She sighs. I'm sorry, Tim. Wait, there's a second one? What's the second? Rainbow Dash, obviously, Rainbow Dash's hair basically just shows rainbow. You know, her name's also Rainbow, but like, who else has that component? Who else can make a sonic rainbow? Tim sits her for a long time, looking back at the engine as more ponies continue to lurk. What's going to be done with it? Tim sighs and Twilight sighs and finally sits on her haunches next to him. It will be taken back to Canterlot. We will disassemble and try to figure out how it works. She looks at him sideways, unless you know how jet engines work. Tim shakes his head. Just the basics. That engine will tell you a lot more than I ever could. I can work on piston engines, not those. What's the difference? Well, one of them requires a bunch of pistons around a crankshaft, but these are turbofans, which is kind of like having a fan use you to burn a bunch of air and fuel together to make it go. She nods, albeit more in a placitating than understanding manner. Both of them sit and watch as a group of unicorns work their magic together to lift the engine onto a wooden sled. As the ponies are lashing it down, Twilight turns to Tim. You know what you had in your pockets is in Ponyville. Tim rose his brow. I didn't have much in my pockets. My phone, my wallet, some cash, my keys. His eyes start side to side as he tries to remember. I might have had my charge cord too. He smells. My laptop case is under my seat. I don't guess you have that. I have some guards scour the area between here and Ghastly Gorge, but I doubt it will be found. I've been able to repair the glass of the phone. She giggles softly. I learned a few things about them with my time on the other side of the mirror, though I couldn't use my magic on them in that form. She shrugs. Though I've been unable to power it up, I hesitated to try to charge it. Applying voltage in the wrong part of it could fry it, and it would be dead. She stands up. Let's go take a look at it. She glances up at the sky. It's getting late. I can have you as a guest in my castle tonight. Tim stands up and follows Twilight back to the chariot, and it doesn't take long for the Pegasi to bring them to Ponyville. Twilight brings Tim through the castle and down several flights of stairs to her lab. With glances at the mirror, she leads him to a workbench. Her horn alights and a large crystalline box floats off a shelf and leads in front of her. She gestures to Tim to open the box. He does so, and he looks inside. He smiles as he brings out his old phone. The glass is pristine on it. He rubs his fingers along the surface for a moment and pushes a power button inside. The screen remains dark. He chuckles. Well, keeping power this whole time would be too much to ask for. He reaches into this box. A small crystal bowl has a charge that was in his pocket. Oh, as a change that was in his pocket. I was like, bull. This is money from my world, he says as he also brings out his wallet. Opening it up, it brings out a bill. This is worth $20 in America. Twilight's eyebrows rise. I think I've been there. Dollars, right? He nods as he flips through the change, identifying the denominations as he shows each one to Twilight. Per usual, a horn is alight and a quill is rapidly scratching across the parchment. These don't look like any money I recall from your world. Where's the old human mare? Where's the birds on the dollar coins? Tim laughs. Oh, I see you were in Canada. Canada? A what? Never mind, grins the human, pulling out his jeans. They aren't exactly shredded, but they would never be worn again. The ponies had apparently cut him out of them. He reaches in again and pulls out his charge cord. Yeah, this is the charge cord for the phone. He looks at Twilight. You know about electricity? She nods. We use magic for most things requiring power, but we know of it. He looks at the small power brick, reading the information on it. It takes 120 volts of AC power. She scrunches her face a little. AC. He nods. It means alternating current. The whole voltage switches between positive and negative 60 times per second back home. And so we can transmit power long distances. The phone itself uses direct current and very low voltage, he says. I couldn't tell you which pins inside here that you can apply voltage to when it comes to charging. He touches the charge cord, but I don't know how you would get power to this. No one knows that off the bat. Twilight smiles. I knew that the cord was for the phone, but I could never figure out what it actually did. She rears back and claps her gloves. You reduced the potential from 24 pins down to 2, and you said the voltage alternates between 120 positive and 120 negative volts 60 times per second. He nods. Well, it actually makes it about to about 160, but it averages 1 to 120. Out to 120. Yeah, okay. And by voltage, you mean 1 volt through 1 Through 1 OHM gives you 1 ampere. He closes his eyes and thinks for a moment. That sounds about right. She goes, math is not only a universal constant, but a multiversal constant. Thank you, Tim. That tells me a lot more than I knew before. She points at the text and printed onto the plastic of the charger. Remember, you haven't finished teaching me your written language, so I couldn't read all of this. She gestures. I'll get you set up in a room. I'm going to perform some experiments based on what you told me. Before long, Tim is settling into a bed in Twilight's castle. He suspects the lavender mare will be up all night. Yeah, you love that. You'd love to see it. The air lacks humidity. The low hum of fans forcing a recycling air doesn't help with Tim's mouth and tongue feeling dry. Smacking his lips, he tries to move, but the belt across his lap holds him in place. The clinking of the drink cart, the sound of pop can being opened encourages Tim to seek a respite from the dryness. Tim gasps himself awake. He looks around. The low thrum of the jet engines are what lulled him to sleep. He takes a moment to smile at the flight attendant as she moves the cart past him, offering a bag of blue potato chips. To another passenger, he shakes his head. His mouth was still dry, but he wasn't sure what he wanted. Why is he in the center seat in the middle set of rows? He was in the left window seat over the wing when he fell asleep. He glances around. The seat he was in is now empty, a dark, wet stain on the seat. Did someone spill a drink? He shakes his head. It's still foggy. What's going on? With a loud bang, the light flickers out. The sound is deafening as an 18-foot section of the wall, as well as the seat beside him, is ripped out of the plane. The air screams out of the plane as the oxygen masks drop, but they are blown back by the airstream. Everything loose in the cabin becomes airborne. Tim screams with the rest of the passengers as the plane flips on its side with the loss of the wing. A moment later, the plane drops into a steep dive as parts of the aircraft start being ripped off due to the speed and structural failure. As the plane falls, you can see the ground getting closer as the plane flips over and over. Beside him, a little girl grabs his arm, crying for her mama. The stewardess is thrown to the back of the plane, followed by the cart as it bounces off several seats on its trip. Tim can hear someone behind him praying to God, begging for forgiveness, pleading not to die. Tim gathers a large breath and screams, "Oh shit!" Tim gasps himself awake as he coughs, as he rubs his eyes and looks around. Everything on the plane looks normal again. He moans and stretches for a moment. What's going on? He's in a different seat, an aisle seat in the back of the plane. What happened here? He leans forward. There's his seat, but a little pony is sitting there. It Pegasus' light blue fur and darker blue mane and tail. Underneath a dark purple potato chip with a pair of wings sprouting from it. Beside her in the aisle seat on that row is a 6-year-old girl holding the pony. Tim shakes his head. This is different. What's going on? A loud bang is followed by the rending of metal. The side of the plane disappears as though some great force ripped it apart. The chair with the Pegasus sucked out a look of horror and sadness on her face as she mouths, "Help me." Tim stares at the aisle seat of the row he had been in. It's now empty and cut in half. Tim's voice is added to the general din as the plane starts to tumble to the ground. Fire engulfs the far side of the cabin, burning bodies crying for help. Without warning, everything stops moving. Complete silence reigns for a long moment, and then a voice calls out gently, "Well, that's enough of that." "Princess Luna," Tim calls out. He looks down. He's still buckled in. Though all the debris is still in the air, it's just not moving. He glances around looking for the voice. After a moment, a pony appears, walking slowly down the aisle. She stops at one seat. The drink cart had collided with a man's head. Blood is splattering everywhere. The vivid red droplets shimmer as they hang in the air. She closes her eyes and disappears from the aisle and reappears on the other side. "So gruesome," she murmurs softly, looking at a middle-aged woman. Her skin flailed by the fireball, her mouth open in a rectus of a scream. She shakes her head before she continues walking and comes up before Tim to sit on her haunches next to him. "Wow, humans really do think dark," she says in a gentle voice. "I'm sorry I was drawn to the pain and suffering of this dream, but I didn't expect this. I've heard about you, though. I just wish I could have met you in a more peaceful setting." Tim rubs his eyes looking at the dark gray pony sitting there with a sea blue mane and tail. Her key mark is a crescent moon with a purple star on the top of the crescent. "My name is Moonshadow. I am a dreamer." Her ears flick a bit. "I'm also Princess Luna's apprentice." "Where's Princess Luna?" She smiles. "She has decided to have a quiet night with another pony tonight. She left me to look over the dreams of our little ponies." She cocks her to the side. "Even Princess Luna deserves a break once in a while." Tim looks around. "This is a dream?" She nods. "You were having a nightmare, so I came to help." Tim shakes his head and puts his hand to his forehead. "That was a dream?" She nods and he flops back onto his back. That felt so real. "Dreams have a tendency to do that." She moves over and sits next to him. "You seem to have strong fears." Tim laughs softly. "I just found out how I got to it. Gracia, the plane I was on, destroyed by magic. That gets a start from her." "What?" He nods. "Apparently the sonic rainbow opened some kind of rift between our two worlds, and I was the lucky one to survive." She cocks her head to the side. "I would call it luck. You did survive. But every pony else probably died." He huffs. "It was pure random chance. What gives me the right to survive while all the other people on the plane died?" He sits up and cradles his head in his hands. "Oh, don't have survivor's guilt, my boy. It was something outside of your control. You are the only human here in Equestria. I'm pretty sure that you are counted among the casualties of that crash. Though you had it pretty bad yourself. You were in a coma for months, and you very nearly died yourself." She leans against him. "If you truly felt guilty about their lives, just remember that you are still alive. Live your life as best as you can," she says softly. "That's all you can do." Both are silent for a long time. Finally, she shifts a bit. "Do you regret your time here?" Tim shakes his head. "No, I love Citrus, Cayanne. Hell, even Northport's going on me. I wouldn't change my time here for the world." She leans her head against his shoulder. "Then live, continue on. Remember the people you've never really met, but have lost their lives. They are lost, but you are here, still alive. Continue on, and be the man you are. Show love to your mayors, and be the man you can be. That's the best you can do." Okay. He reaches his arm and hugs her tightly for a moment. "Thank you, Moonshadow." She smiles, and suddenly she's away from him, and both are on their feet. She looks around. "I cannot control what you dream, but if you have another nightmare, I'll be here for you. Now that you know you are in the dream, you can control your feelings better. Pleasant dreams, young Timonthy." With that, she disappears. Alright. Guess that ends the dream sequence that happened there. Tim finds he's more than a bit warm as he finally wakes. The dreams of the night take their dissipating. As he shakes his head, he goes to move his hand and discovers there's someone in bed with him. He lifts his head. Twilight. The face that greets him is pink. A pink horn just juts up from the tricolored mane, purple, hot pink, and cream stripes. He can feel a wing float over his body. The source of the X's that he's feeling. The alicorn's eyes open and purple eyes greet him. She smiles. "Good morning." Tim's trying to figure out how to get out from under her wing. As the door to the room slams open, a white unicorn is standing there. His multi-hued blue mane is bristling as he stalks into the room. "What the buck are you doing with my wife?" The end. I love that, because that's funny. You guys have to see the conclusion to that one. Anyways, guys, I'm just gonna end it here. Thank you guys for watching, listening, like you guys do, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.